Bitcoin versus Cronos, two fundamentally different tokens, but for both you expect higher prices in 2025. Which one though is the better buy? Well guys, I would say let's strap in and let's find out. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm the one and only Coin Baron, and this video is sponsored by WolfSwap, the leading DEX aggregator on Cronos and soon probably also on Abstract. But more about that later. In this video, I want to talk about the main topic, Bitcoin versus Cronos. And it was all spiked by this Reddit thread left to me. It was sent to me by a viewer, so if you have any interesting discussions, guys, feel free to share them with me. And also do not forget to hit the like button while you're at it. Well, let's go through this post first. He starts his thread with the following. I thought I would do an original post here for all those who falsely believe that CDC has produced a roadmap for the company, but it does nothing for the price of CRO. And he does mention there is a second roadmap for CRO. And probably you have seen the CDC roadmap, so the Crypto.com roadmap, talking about stocks, banking, and more about that in this video at the top right. But he does mention there's also a Cronos Labs roadmap, which typically talks about everything related to the Cronos chain, but also a lot about tokenomics. A link was included to the very long Cronos roadmap, and you might have seen a short picture of it, but this is the whole list, which is definitely worth a read. If you don't like to read, no worries, I got you covered because soon we'll get a dedicated video with a deep dive into the whole Cronos roadmap, so make sure notifications are on. Anyways, he continues his post by mentioning that no one is really talking about the CRO roadmap yet, but it does have major fundamental changes. So that also will change the price structure most likely. So right now, no one knows yet, so you can still buy in at relatively low prices. At least that's here the thesis by Cater Holiday. In general, I do agree with the points he's making here in his post, but of course we have to wait and see how all the fundamental changes are going to play out for the Cronos chain and the Cronos token. But overall, these are very positive changes in my mind. And anyone watching right now is definitely still an early adopter, and retail is not in here yet for CRO or the Crypto.com ecosystem. Having said that, the main fun really begins in the replies down below. And it starts with the top comment here by National Bitcoin. And pay close attention to his nickname here, National Bitcoin. That's also why this video is really focused around the topic Bitcoin versus Cronos. But it's a really long read and I really like those long discussions. But let's go through it line by line. I will try to keep it short though. He starts with the following. Gonna get downvoted to hell by new investors for being a realist again. But here we go. Everything is already priced in. And just to go back again, guys, up top, the main point is people are not really talking about the roadmap right now. So they don't know what's coming. And so National Bitcoin is saying something completely opposite. But he tries to explain a bit more down below. I've been using CRO for almost 5 years now. The narrative has always been about what's going to be driving the price and why is it a better investment than Bitcoin. But that narrative never turns out to be true. So first we had the NHL sponsorship, then UFC, then Formula 1, we got soccer, a lot of endorsements by Crypto.com. So how can this not be the most obvious investment ever? They aren't a public company, but if I buy a CRO, it's more like buying a stock. I seriously believe that's how some of you treat this coin, like it's a representation of CDC success, rather than understanding CRO is the product. I partly agree and partly disagree with the points he's making here. Because of course, yes, Cronos is not the stock of Crypto.com. It's a utility cryptocurrency that governs the Cronos chain, at least in theory. But he does say that the CDC success is not a direct catalyst really for what's happening on the Cronos chain. And well, guys, what we have seen so far is that one of the major catalysts still remains the moves by Crypto.com. So if Crypto.com introduces a new card deal or introduces a new sponsorship, there really still remains to be a catalyst for the CRO token. So I partly agree, partly disagree. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. But I digress. When the mainnet launched on November 8, 2021, the CRO price was around 40 cents, which was about 500 Satoshis worth of Bitcoin. And he does mention, please guys, learn more about the CRO Bitcoin pairing. And today, we are at 15 cents. And it's only worth about 155 Satoshis. And this value remains really, really important to National Bitcoin here. So what this means is that if you invested the same amount into Bitcoin when the CRO mainnet was launched, your CRO investment is now worth less than 1/3 of your Bitcoin investment. Just really making a comparison here between Bitcoin and CRO. CRO peaked at about 2,000 Satoshis for one CRO before falling to about 100, which is about a 90% fall off in relation to Bitcoin. Zoom out to 5 years, look at the Bitcoin value of CRO and not the USD value, and you can see the only truth is the longer you held CRO, the more Bitcoin you lose out on. To give some props to National Bitcoin, he is stating some facts here. He's looking really at the CRO Bitcoin chart, and there you can see that currently we are down about 90%. So right now, CRO Bitcoin is really hurt. But he forgets a really important element in his thesis, and that is seasonality. And we can easily check that as well on this chart here by the altcoin year index. And there we have years for altcoins and years for Bitcoin. So right now, guys, it is still a Bitcoin year, so Bitcoin is relatively strong. And he was comparing it to the 8th of November here, the 8th of November 2021, which clearly is actually an altcoin year. And right now he's comparing it to the current year. So it's not really an apples to apples comparison. So in my mind, we have to compare it again when it is an altcoin year. And in my opinion, that's also why currently CRO Bitcoin is so cheap. My expectation is that we will see Bitcoin dominance drop again. So every 3 years, let's say every 3 years, we can see a big drop in the Bitcoin dominance. So then really altcoins start to perform. And I do think that will include Cronos as well. So currently it's very cheap, but I do believe, and I don't know how high we will go for the CRO Bitcoin valuation, but let's say we go back to this support line here. We go up about 245% in the CRO Bitcoin pair. Or if we even go higher, let's go back to the previous all-time high for CRO Bitcoin, then we go up about 800%. So guys, a really important argument. Do not forget about Bitcoin seasonality and altcoin seasonality. If you want to swap Bitcoin into CRO, you can do so on-chain on today's sponsor, WolfSwap. WolfSwap is a DEX aggregator that tries to find the cheapest way to make your trade. And you can do so by also paying with your favorite tokens. So ZK CRO, Moon, VUSD, VETH, all on the ZK EVM chain. And soon they'll also be launching on Abstract. You do pay a fee for their services, but in return, you also get a lot of different contests. So make sure you check them out in the link in the description down below. But anyways, let's get back to the Reddit thread. National Bitcoin continues his argument by talking about the reliability really of Crypto.com, because he mentions, combine this knowledge with the fact Crypto.com changes card rewards about every 6 months. Nobody trusts the coin by now. They try to remove card rewards almost entirely before backtracking just to appear as if they listened to the community. But that was their intent, just to reduce blowback from reducing the rates. They took our rates away but made us feel like we won. They also screwed over the MCO token holders despite promising they wouldn't abandon it. Honestly, these arguments are hitting me right in the feelings here, because I was quite angry when I saw the reduction in card rewards. But in the end, it wasn't really sustainable, so I did think they made a clever business decision. National Bitcoin also used the DeFi platform for about 2 years. I never used it for anything other than compounding my interest or sending them over. And before I continue, guys, this is not really using the DeFi platform. He's really only using the earn section of the DeFi wallet app. And that is only, guys, 1% of what's possible on DeFi. We got so much more. We got swapping on chain. We got liquidity pools. We got lending protocols. There is so much possible. And this is just the tip of the iceberg though, guys. So please, National Bitcoin, try it again, but this time use it good. Anyways, he said, I would interact with my wallet weekly, but never with anybody else. Anyways, I did realize that most are also just doing this with the staking rewards, which basically means that when those rewards end, the network is essentially useless for 90% of its users. And again, this does point to me that he did not read this article here. This article is talking so much about AI agents being really a flying wheel that should monetize the chain once more, even when the rewards will run out, I think, in 2027. But still, guys, we will see. Make sure you read that argument, because I do believe here he is unfortunately a bit misinformed here. Anyways, I do like his article so far. So let's continue. I also want to add, I do have a grandfathered IC white card. My cost basis for currently for CRO is about $50,000. It just irks me to see posts that shill CRO with no history of the coin, company, or understanding why many do not trust it. I have hope in it as much as everyone else. But I will also add, it is not good that CRO is worth the same amount when the app had about 5 million users, with about 6,000 CRO per users, with now currently about 100 million users, with about an average of 300 CRO max available per user. And we're still sitting at exact the same price. I do have to comment on this again, because we are once more not comparing apples to apples. OneCrypto.com had 5 million users. The CRO price was trading at the post-halving year, so January 2021, at about 5 to 7 cents, depending on when you were looking. But right now, January 2025, of course, the CRO price is at about 16 to 17 cents. So therefore, currently it's about a 3x from the previous price. So of course, not the same difference as 5 million to 100 million, but I do not think that the price will grow exponentially with the amount of users. Anyways, he ends his post with the following words. I do want to add, I'm not a hater of CRO. The main utility of CRO is cashback and the extra 3% earned to me. CRO has value to me, but the price of the coin is essentially irrelevant because I sell out my rewards weekly. My rewards earned are based on BTC USD value, as my stake is hardly worth anything. I was in a CRO heavy early 2021, and I consider myself lucky. But I do not personally advise anybody to go down that emotional roller coaster I took. I have found that if you use the card over time, it will pay off. But that was before they got changed, making it really more expensive and, in my opinion, harder to recoup your investment. I just don't see any reason to hold more than required for whatever tier or rewards you desire. Signed by National Bitcoin. First off, I do want to thank National Bitcoin for this extensive reply and also his point of view on the matter. And even though I do not agree with it, many other people in the CRO fam did agree with him. That's also why I had to make this video, because I do believe, especially regarding the earn section and the DeFi section, there are so many things he and probably others have not explored yet. And also many things that are in the roadmap currently that he's also not seeming to understand yet. And that's exactly the point that the OP of the post was making originally. No one is really understanding yet where Cronos is going with their roadmap, with their AI agents, and also with their burns. So I do think there are quite some surprises still up in the Cronos Labs sleeve. But then also for Bitcoin. And for Bitcoin, I do think we have to go to the charts, because he is making some good points here. Mainly that a long time, guys, we are in a CRO Bitcoin season, really. So for about 3 years now, it has been only pain for Cronos. But there will be probably a time, a very short time, about only 30 weeks, where you have the opportunity to earn more Satoshis. So if you buy right now, the chances are quite high you can earn more Satoshis. So to Mr. National Bitcoin, if you want to earn more Bitcoin, the clever move right now might be to sell your Bitcoin, buy CRO instead, and sell them later in the cycle. That is, guys, what I'm going to do myself. That is also what I will make sure to update you guys on, because that's also my journey here on the channel. And if you like to watch along, do not forget to strap in, hit the subscribe button, and also like for more. With that in mind, ladies and gentlemen, part of the new Cronos roadmap are the burns. So make sure you check out this video before we're releasing the Cronos roadmap deep dive.